I'm really glad to see like some of the countries, the smaller countries, are actually starting to take the lead now, and they're taking control of their own destiny. They're not waiting for like the G8s and the rest to like tell them which direction they should go. Yeah, this is a chance for them to really sort of recognize in the market and sort of claim some significant market share before the big boys move in. That's
well, they're lucky they're not part of the draconian EU system, so they got space to navigate, I guess, before the rest of the world clamps down on crypto world. I mean, today talking about regulation, we saw Binance get banned by the UK, right? FCA came out and said they have to be regulated. What do you make of that?
We need to get them regulated in Georgia.
Well, for the UK, it's quite sizable crypto holders. Someone like Binance being banned in the UK, it's a big event.
Just interesting time, to be honest with you, especially with cryptocurrency now. But what do you think? How's it going right now with the cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I think it's a global wide like kind of ban stuff now, but whether it kind of plays off, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Seems like you're out night out.
Yeah,
you guys.
I think we're probably gonna have
yeah, in town. Yeah.
We're gonna take it outside so that we can get a clearer feed. So you guys keep talking, and we're just gonna move to the party.
Yeah, this isn't over yet because you brought up a great point that needs to be discussed because the Binance is a big deal.
All right. So, anyways, sorry, your name, you're Crypto King, right? You want to call yourself?
No. Let's just go with Kratos.
It's Kratos.
Oh, Kratos. Sorry. Okay. Don't know where I got Crypto King from, but anyways, and you're in mining, or what's your background?
Yeah, mainly in mining. Honestly, just trying to protect the network. Everything that's taking place right now is very refreshing. Although China's trying to spread a lot of FUD, to go from 65% market share, which they had very strong, to then cutting it out is a big deal. And people might see that as a bad thing. Unfortunately, the masses don't understand that, yes, the hashing rate is not correlated with price, but is correlated to the network itself. Yep. So as long as we have one node on the network, we're good. As far as a miner goes,
the difficulty of mining, you feel is going to come down drastically, right?
No, it's not that I feel it's going to happen. It has to happen because the complexity of the network is going to reduce by, let's just say 50%, right? They're at 65%. Let's say it's going to reduce by 50%. The complexity of the network, where all the other miners are going to make more money now that the...
How do you feel? Like, because obviously the equipment's still there, right? So do you feel that they're going to abide by these mining laws, like, and Chinese are just going to stop mining, or they're going to find places they can go and mine?
Well, that's yeah. I mean, it's very reflected in the market. They're diversifying into obviously the U.S. and to Kazakhstan and to anywhere else they can. Norway, Argentina, Paraguay, and so on. To me, in this situation, it's a benefit for the community or the industry, because 65% market share of the mining power in the world being just in China doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So, and it's a shame that the media hasn't reflected that. Forget the media. The media is always going to be spreading FUD, and they don't want crypto to succeed, which is normal. It's very important to understand, like, in order for us to keep this decentralized ecosystem that we are creating and that we're advocating for, we need it to spread out. So it's a blessing, honestly. That's the way it should be looked at, because now the question should be this: why is China now doing this for real, right? Because there's been bans presented for the time, plenty of bans, and now it's really happening. So is it a situation where finally the digital yuan is ready, and they've been mining 65% of the market for so long that they feel comfortable? Because something that I recently discovered, among other things, was that Sichuan, which was just banned, there's 26 mining farms that are owned directly by the government. Maybe agree or disagree, but the way Chinese politics works is they follow orders. So you have these politicians that are just trying to, how can I say, just follow the orders that are, trickling down to be able to climb up the ladder faster.
You feel there has to be another opportunity for them to take this seriously?
The other thing is Bitmain is also mentioned that they're not going to be taking pre-orders and they're going to let the resale market kind of take over for now.
Yeah.
Which is very positive for us as well, because before chip shortage, 8-month wait, when you were placing an order when BTC was at 60,000, 3,000, $5,000 a machine. If it was a spot order, you're paying $10,000 a machine. And now it's kind of given equilibrium. I mean, nobody saw that coming. And I think it's really because of the digital yuan that's taking place, that they have it ready, finally. And that's fine with me, again, because the whole space that we're in and what we're doing, I'm a big Bitcoiner. It's to be decentralized. So this had to happen. It's very refreshing to see it's happening. And yeah, the market's is very volatile right now. But I think within 6 months from now, when it goes to the West and everywhere else, it's going to equalize to be more decentralized, which is important to the network itself.
The cost of getting into mining, is a significant cost to get into mining? Like if you say that 65% is like a vacuum, say, like, and it's obviously going to be taken up by other people around the world. Is there like would you say that will become for more like retail mining on their GPUs, or be more institutionalized heavy machines? Is the cost to getting into mining like a significant investment? And that 65%, do you feel it will be quickly taken up from other people around the world?
Absolutely. It will always be a significant cost into mining, and the rest of the world is absorbing that. And that's what's refreshing to the industry as a whole. Because I don't know about you, but I don't feel comfortable with China mining 65% market share of the network. And I'm very proud of where BTC is at, even though it's extremely volatile. I'm very impressed as to the amount of FUD that China's been trying to do and that they're doing currently, of where we're standing. It's the West's turn now to step up and take over.
We have much more laws regarding energy, and crazy fanaticals about trying to keep energy due to global warming, etc. How would that be addressed in the future? We saw Bitcoin with Elon Musk saying, he can't back Bitcoin because of the energy costs. Do you think other people will follow suit? Especially in Europe, I see they're really on the green reset, so to speak. Bitcoin, in a way, is kind of counterintuitive to that kind of model going forward.
It's a great question, and the answer to that question is that nobody considers is that us as miners, what are we doing? We're going around the world finding places where there's excess power that's already being allocated for nothing, and actually using it for something to keep this monetary revolution happening that's taking place. With that said, not too many people understand that, nor Musk. I respect Elon Musk to his success and so on and what he does, but that was invalid, what he said and what he shared to the market. And I don't know if that's, and I'm not trying to get into conspiracy or anything, but it's just very, I don't know if China was waiting for something like that, or if China forced their hand on Musk, or if the West forced their hand on Musk to tweet something like that. Because honestly speaking, we as miners collectively, we're not out here creating coal power plants to mine Bitcoin. That is very far from what we do. We're out here going to the middle of nowhere in all parts of the world to use the excess energy that's already existing to do something productive with. That's it. So either we use that energy or it does not get used, but it's produced. That speculation, or that, how can I say, that rhetoric is very far from the truth. We need more people like us and other big miners in the world to step up and clear the air. We can't stay in the shadows anymore. We can't. Sure. If we do, then we'll continue to allow the media push all the FUD that they are. And that's not the truth.
Well, of course, if it's based upon renewable energy, which a lot of the media doesn't really show, then it's obviously it's something that is it doesn't face a challenge for this world, right? It makes sense, right? It makes sense that you can mine Bitcoin, make monetary value out of renewable energy. That's a fantastic idea.
Which we've been doing. I'm not going to speak for the whole mining industry, but we're already at 50% renewable energy, more or less, if not more. So when Elon Musk tried to save that tweet by saying, oh, we need to at least show that there's 50% renewable energies, and we're advocating for that. We have projects in place that we're going to be advocating for green mining, to show proof, because apparently we have to. Obviously we've been called out, so it's not going to be as easy to just be like, hey, we're mining with renewables. Even if all the biggest public companies that mine Bitcoin and mine crypto and so on come on and say it, we need to just show proof, so that way there's no doubt. So when someone like Musk tweets whatever he tweets, it has no effect on us.
The current price now, does that face challenges for miners around the world at around $30,000 to $40,000 for a Bitcoin? And what do you feel as an industry the price can go where mining is still affordable with the rising costs of equipment? I feel like it's the break-even point.
Look, it's for the listeners, this is Elgato coming to you, aka the Mad Hatter. So look, I don't want them to catch up to me. I have to remain elusive and anonymous, right? So we can continue to bring information directly from the source. This is the whole point of the Coincast, right? But so I had to leave the land of watches and chocolate in order to discover the truth and present it to our listening audience. To answer the question, there are relative factors that create incentive for miners to continue to basically break down the blocks so that the Bitcoin that are mined can be distributed amongst the network. When you look at the mining side of the business, it's fairly constructive in a way, because there's a little bit of a lag, but there's a complexity of the network that sort of comes into play. So when the prices are higher, it's much more difficult to break down a block, right? And so when the prices fall, it becomes a little bit easier to break down that same block. So miners kind of rely on this sort of variable or natural adjustment within the system, because the system basically rewards the expense and the allocation of resources towards the mining process seems to be a little bit easier. You have a little bit higher yield, but also it levels the playing field when the prices go up by making it a little more difficult to get the same value out of it. And so then you come into some proprietary understandings about how to approach this whole process. And so not all miners are created equal. And so that's where the competition comes in. But at the end of the day, everybody's getting value, right? Every miner that has a basic understanding of economy and just sort of various operations of scale, no one's going to operate at a loss. And the way that everything is set up now, and with Bitcoin trading at the levels it is, everyone can operate at a relative profit still. Even though we've seen volatility in the market, if you look at any sort of Bitcoin chart, you'll see that even though there's been a lot of volatility, the lows are still higher than the previous lows. And so that basically is an indication of an uptrend, which means that there's still reasonable belief that the market will continue to move higher, although it's not going to move straight up. That means there's still room in the market for other people to come in. But, when you look at Bitcoin, there's something called proof of work, which means that you have to expend, cash and resources and time and infrastructure to capture that value. Those costs are going to increase as the value of Bitcoin increases. And this only makes sense, right? If the value of Bitcoin drops, the opportunity for others to enter the market is going to improve, because there's going to be a variation in the energy costs and some other variables associated with the market that make it sort of feasible to mine. But I think we're moving to a stage where the market has developed enough over the past decade where the passive miner, that hobby miner, the guy that's got a few miners in his garage or basement, they're not going to get the same return. And it's not because they're small miners, because they don't reinvest in their business. Right? So if they're still running those old ASICs from 10 years ago, they're just not going to get the job done. They have to basically take the value that they've earned and put it forward, and invest in new technology. That's around about it.
No, and to add to that really quick, to Elgato, is the complexity of the network, again, is about to be reduced by 20+%. And that means we make more money. And my electricity contract and our electricity contract and so on is set. So I'm looking forward to the next 3 to 6 months, if not more, because the amount of displacement that has to take place from China moving 65% of the market share to the rest of the world, however it's absorbed, it's a lot to take in. So I'm happy. To answer your question, the break even is coming faster. Is the price going to stay the same? Nobody knows. You know, I wish I can share with how much we need to still be in profit, to what BTC's price has to be at in order to still be in profit, but I can't. But I can say that we're okay. We're going to keep mining. We're going to absorb as much as we can to expand.
I understand, but I mean, like, obviously, energy costs is such a huge part of having a good setup in mining. I mean, there's some people that maybe they are not fortunate to be in such a energy efficient place in the world, and you would see miners drop off due to like a lower Bitcoin price where the energy cost, it just doesn't make sense for them. There has to be some economics behind mining, which I would like to understand more, in the sense of there has to be advantages for very low cost, very, very efficient machines, very efficient, where the energy is essentially free in some places. They can really handle massive price fluctuations. But I can imagine some miners around the world, they might not be in such a place where they have all of those benefits. The price goes down to 15,000 or so, they could be in trouble. Is that a fair statement?
Well, that's the outcome we hope for.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
If you're positioned well, I can understand, right?
No, seriously speaking, I do actually, to add to Elgato, is exactly that. It's a competitive advantage, just like any market, right? And that's not my problem. Hash rate that we have for the market doesn't dictate the price. That needs to be clear. So just because we're at 160 exahashes this year when BTC hits 60K, doesn't mean that we have to be at that to hit 60K again. The block might take a little longer, but it's still going to be decentralized, and the complexity is going to be reflected on that.
And in terms of coins itself, you're only mining Bitcoin, or you're mining other coins?
Well, there's essentially the algorithms, for the ASICs are pretty specific, as you know. There are a few opportunities developing, where we could sort of see the same value for the expensive resources that are employed. It's a simple process, sort of coincides with the business of coin analytics, evaluating that on the quote unquote digital physical side of the business, let's say, where those values come from. And so anything that requires like proof of work and not proof of stake, you can sort of shift some of the interest there, and you can sort of direct some of the processing power. But we've really talked about crypto that are sort of on the horizon, where we can sort of identify value and see like a correlation, not just to Bitcoin, but to just the value of sort of non-yielding assets and where we see them going. We have to be more deliberate on the mining side because we're expending resources, we're expending real energy to accumulate that.
All right. So from a miner's perspective, how would mining Bitcoin compare to that of, say, like Ethereum or something? Would the yields be similar? Is it the same kind of process? Why would you choose Bitcoin over Ethereum? Because I see, like, recently we've seen Ethereum market volume in trading, a lot of interest in Ethereum. I know they're moving away from, or they say they're moving away from proof of work to proof of stake. How does that impact miners? Changes in blockchain technologies, I mean, that could have a huge impact on miners for sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Or what I feel, I'm about a decentralized economy. And I know the owner of Ethereum, right? We all do, correct?
Yeah.
Do you know Satoshi Nakamoto? No, right? With that said, we need to break down what crypto does and what it's doing to the global economics as a whole. I'm not worried because Ethereum's obviously been exposed. I don't know if the rest of the world's seen how exposed they were when the high gas fees and the amount of time it took for the transactions to take place, say considered by the market as a whole, instead of being swayed in a certain way just because Ethereum has, smart contracts. And now Bitcoin is matured enough to where there's nano contracts that are applicable. So going back to your other question, as far as we're merge mining, which is kind of similar to what you were mentioning, is if we're able to mine other coins, we focus on the SHA-256 algo, right? Why? Because again, we are mining Bitcoin, and any token that's able to use the SHA-256 algo, which is the most decentralized algo for blockchain, is ahead. And nano contracts are coming. We can do lightning fast transactions, placement of economies, and better than Ethereum.
Explain for the viewers.
But that's the
nano
thing.
Contracts.
That's the biggest fault that we have in the industry right now, is the knowledge isn't there. The industry has been very hyped, being swayed by a Dogecoin or whatever coin, and Ethereum as well, and I like Ethereum, but Ethereum again was exposed. The amount of the gas fees that took place, regardless of whatever meme coins that came about, and is a factor that everybody has to consider, because if you recall why Ethereum's value originally when it came about was to contradict all those reasons that came about, all those problems that came about this year: high gas fees, length of transaction, etc. I'm hoping that this is a lesson to the market to do their due diligence and learn and really understand what the difference is between Ethereum or a meme coin or so on. The answer is simple.
Talking about smart contracts, as you mentioned, I mean, the gas fees for Ethereum went through the roof, and they've obviously been fluctuating a lot. They're coming out with a 2.0 version that hopefully they say that will bring down gas fees. Binance, interestingly, have their own smart contract system with gas fees which are a fraction of that of Ethereum. How do you feel Binance smart contract can compete with Ethereum? Do you think is a viable system?
I don't want to sound like a Bitcoin maximalist, right? A Bitcoin maxi.
Yeah.
But what attracted me the most to this, how can I say this revolution that's taking place, was the decentralization that's capable, giving money back to the people, power back to the people. I don't want to rely on Binance. They can't even get regulation settled within UK or Canada.
Sure.
And I don't want those problems if I'm holding some of my net worth or portfolio. That's where I stand. The decentralization, we can't forget what makes Bitcoin Bitcoin. The biggest value that Bitcoin provides to the market. Because I'm not going to rely on CZ or Vitalik or so on for my money. I'm sorry. Then we might as well just stick to the traditional legacy system, is what I'm trying to say. That's how I feel. I can't speak for Elgato, but that's how I feel.
Decentralized 100%.
Yeah.
As how we are.
I mean, what are we doing this for, right? I think that
But
message.
in terms of Bitcoin being a viable, okay, we can call it store of wealth one aspect, but like a transfer system, I mean, the costs of Bitcoin are quite expensive to send Bitcoin across from one place to another. Second reason is, the transaction time, it takes a long time. We've recently heard the likes of MasterCard or Visa adopting, Ripple or some other technologies to have efficient transactions on the blockchain. So I think there is a need for these other technologies. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Have you heard of the Lightning Network?
No, I haven't. So please enlighten me.
No, absolutely. So Jack Mahler integrated his application called, I believe it's called Stripe.
Stripe, yeah.
Yeah, Stripe, and that's how El Salvador is going.